Hi everybody. A few people have asked me to put my skirt making workshop on YouTube, so here it is. This is a demo on how to make a skirt like this that will twirl like this. You can have it this short or you can have it a little bit longer, but not much longer than this. It twirls beautifully. It's bigger than a circle. It's a double circle skirt, and here's how you do it. Two skirts today, a short one out of the pink and black, and then a longer one out of this lovely teal patterned lycra. This is spandex or lycra. It makes the best skirts, but you can also use rayon, but it's kind of tricky, and cotton does not work very well at all. So look for lycra. That's the best material. And I'll show you a video of some lycra patterns that I found at a shop that gives you an idea of how many variations there are out there. Okay, here are all the fabulous designs of the fabric that make a really good skirt. You can see. So with the second longer skirt, I want to demonstrate again how we cut it out, just to make sure that it all made sense the first time. So I went down 2 inches from the corner and I created my waistband. And now this time I have more material because I bought 3 yards instead of 2.5. So I can go as big as 24 inches, which will take me from my waist to 24, which is below the knee, like 3 inches below the knee. So now I'm going to mark that from the waist to 24 inches. I will take pins and I will mark where 24 is all the way around. So I'm making the longer skirt here. I've gone from the waist to the bottom of the hem, and all the way around is 24 inches instead of 20, so it'll hit below the knee. At this point, I've got them both cut out, but they don't have the fold on one side split. So I need to take one circle and split it at the fold so that I have an opening and can create the seam when I put the 2 circles together. I need to do both of those, splitting down. Here's one circle, and then I found the other seam or the other fold, and the full circle needs to be split so that I can put the 2 together. Now I have one circle here. Oh my gosh, this is good. So there are 2 circles now coming together. You've split open this side of each one, and you're putting them together where they're split. So you'll make 2 seams only, one on either side. If you have a serger, all the better. You don't need a serger though. You can just stitch lycra. It doesn't fray because it's just plastic. So you can just stitch it or finish it off with a serger. So I start at the top, and as I go, you can pin it. I don't usually pin, but you can, of course. As I go, I make sure that the bottom is matching up as I go so that you don't have an uneven side seam. So now you have a full, see that big hole right there? That's awesome because it's like little tiny on the cutting board. It's big. As long as it goes over without the elastic, it's good. You don't have to make it any bigger. This one's actually bigger than I usually make it. And then I'm going to put elastic around there, and it'll be a double circle. So the next thing I do is I serge the top so that it's finished, and I also serge the bottom so that I can easily hem it. So I have put the waistband on this one. I'm going to show you how to put the waistband on this one, just to show you that the serged edge is behind the elastic, and I have put the elastic on so that it covers up any uneven qualities to that attaching, and I'll show you how to put the waistband on. Here we have the skirt ready for the waistband. I have serged the top, the finished edge, and I've also serged the hem. I'll show you how to hem later. We're going to find the sides and lay those out. The side seams are here. take your elastic. I usually get 2.5 inch to 3 inch elastic at the fabric store. I'll put it around my waist and make it a little tight because there's a lot of weight to that skirt. So I figure out how much I need just by putting it around my waist, cutting a piece, and then I'm going to put in a flat felled seam. A flat felled seam is where you take the two ends and put one slightly shorter than the other so that they're not exactly matched up. One is less, about 1/4 inch or so less, and they're not matched up. And then I'm going to stitch close to the end edge of that shorter side and lock it in place. And then I take the longer edge, the shorter edge. I'll take the longer edge and I'll turn it under and put it flat and stitch that. That's a flat felled seam. And you can see how to do that more on YouTube, I'm sure. And now I have a finished off seam. Both sides are finished. It doesn't matter which side you use. You can see it pretty much the same. I just have to trim off the threads. And then I take it over to my skirt. I can trim off the threads later. And I will match up with my skirt, my waistband. So put the back in the middle, in the back, and I take the seam and take it to the side of my elastic and I will pin it there. Take the other side of my elastic and the side of the skirt where the seam is and pin it there. I will take the back, figure out where the middle of this back of the skirt is, and then take my seam and pin that in place. And then I figure out the front of the elastic and an effect where you've got the elastic is shorter and you've got some scoop effect there. I usually check to see if they're about even. If they're not quite even, it's no big deal. Then I come over here and I put the back in first and I lock it into place with a stitch, making sure that the finished edge is above where I'm stitching here. And then I will pull this as I stitch and I make sure that the finished edge is above where I'm stitching. I'll use the foot of my machine to mark how far in I go. I'm pulling as I sew. I'm pulling the whole thing, Lycra and the elastic, making sure that the Lycra finished edge is underneath where I'm sewing, farther up. Then when I get to the pin, I can remove it. I'm stretching as I go. If you don't stretch as you go, your threads will pop and you'll lose your waistband, and that could be pretty embarrassing. So I'm pulling as I stitch. I am making sure that my finished edge is up above where I'm stitching. And I'm pulling, continually pulling, and then removing the pin and continuing on. I'm pulling with my hand as I'm stitching. I'm pulling the whole thing and stitching, using the foot as my marker so that it stays even. And it's not rocket science. It doesn't matter if it's exact. You just pull as you stitch. Pull as you stitch. And I think I have managed to catch the skirt in with my stitching, and I hope so. I'll take it off the machine. If it's not exactly matched up on the back side, it's okay. See, even that would be fine. So it's all caught in with the stitching. Some is closer than others, and that's fine. It doesn't really show, because when you have the elastic and where you've sewn is basically the same because of the foot, then it all comes out beautifully. So now I can put the skirt on. So now we're going to do the last step. I have serged the bottom of my hem, bottom of the skirt. If you don't have a serger, you're going to want to turn it under twice and do a shirt tail like that. But because I serge it, I have less to turn under, and it's a little flatter that way. You don't have to have a serger. You can do it with the regular machine. So I stay pretty close to the edge with it. I turn it over once and I'll back stitch and then put my timer on because it'll take you about 10 minutes because there's a lot of fabric. And I just keep stitching as I go. I'll turn it up and keep stitching around. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. It's not going to show. You just want to make sure that you're stitching evenly all the way around so that that's what shows. And when I'm all done, I will have a double circle skirt that goes below the knee. And then my pink one will go just at the knee. And I have finished the double circle. And here is the finished short skirt. Okay, and here's the finished long skirt.